Hey guys, it's the Happy Critic. Today we're going to be talking about The Acolyte, episode 7. It is like 99 degrees outside. I'm sitting in my car. So if you hear anything in the background, it's because I had to roll down the windows or else I was going to die. All right, let's just get into it. Let's talk about episode 7. So in this episode, we are seeing what happened 16 years ago, but from the point of view of Sol. And we learn that Sol, Indar, Turbin, and Kalnaka are on this planet Brandok, I think, because they are trying to find a virgins in the Force. Apparently this planet was dead at one point or something, nothing was growing, then all of a sudden it got a lot of plant life. So they're like testing the plants. So very early on we learn that Turbin, obviously, he doesn't like it here on this planet. They've been there for I think like 7 weeks. He's getting bored of camping, probably getting ready to leave because they're not really finding anything of use. And that's when Sol sees the twins. He follows the twins, and when he comes to the fortress, he just climbs over. You would think this place was like fortified and it'd be really hard to get in there, but he does this twice. There's 2 times where he just climbs over their wall. Maybe you guys should get a better fortress. So Sol, he spies on the witches and he sees the girls and he hears stuff about like a ceremony, and he goes back to Indara and he's really worried about the girls. He thinks that they're going to do something to them. And so that's when the Jedi go and confront the witches. And in this scene, we see the visual representation of what happens to Turbin when Anastasia enters his mind. So in this visual representation of Anastasia entering Turbin's mind, she's telling Turbin, she's telling him, I know what your deepest, darkest desires are, and I can help you get them. I can give them to you. I can make them happen. And his deepest, darkest desire is just to get off this planet and go back home. Think about somebody entered your mind and told you, I'm going to go look at your deepest, darkest desires. Would you not be like, no, don't go look at them? I feel like anybody would be like, no, don't, please don't. Like, I feel like they should have given Turbin better deepest, darkest desire. Because the fact that he wants to just go home just is really stupid to me. And it's like, that's your deepest, darkest desire? Okay. They could have given us a reason for why he wanted to go back. Maybe he had like a friend there that was about to be relocated somewhere else and they were going to leave soon and he was never going to be able to see him again. So he really wanted to go home before that happened. Give us something more than he's just tired of camping. Anyways, obviously the Jedi are like, hey, can we test the kids? And they don't actually really want to test them. They're just kind of trying to buy time because Indara is talking to the Jedi Council, asking what she should do with the twins. And the council pretty much tells Indara, we don't want them, they're too old, just leave them with the witches. Sol doesn't like this though. Oh, I forgot to say, Sol has this weird attachment to Osha. Obviously it's innocent, but it gets a little weird after a while. You're like, just chill, Sol, we get it. He's like, I have this real connection with her. But he believes that he needs to be her master. But that sounded even worse. Okay. He believes that he needs to train her, that the Force wants him to train her. So he's kind of being a little obsessive, I'm not going to lie. So back with the witches, we have Osha talking to Anastasia, her mother, and Osha's telling her mom, like, I really want to be a Jedi. And Anastasia says, okay, like, fine, you can do it. Like, I'll talk to everybody else, like all the other witches, but I'm going to consider it. And pretty much tells her she's going to let her go. Osha's really excited, so she goes to get ready. May's really upset about this. And then all the other witches come up to Anastasia and they're like, hey, we know you're a mom, but you can't let her leave. Like, she's going to be like our new leader or whatever. We need her. And Anastasia's like, I know, but that's what she wants to do. I can't just tell her what to do. If that's what she really wants to do, I'm not going to keep her from it. And the witches are like, yeah, but you're a leader as well. And she's like, well, today I choose being a mom, which honestly I kind of liked. She's just like, I'm going to choose to be a mom today. Which is nice, but I don't know what that means for the witches. It could mean like they're all going to die. Who knows? So maybe it is a bad thing. Now, May, on the other hand, is with Coral, and May is very upset that Osha is going to leave. And Coral like pushes May and says, get mad. Get mad. If you want Osha to stay, then get mad and make it happen. So then May starts doing this crazy stuff. I'm not sure exactly what she does right here, but she breaks like the electrical system, like the power grid for this old downed mine that they live in. I think that's what's happening. Someone mentioned that when she broke power grid, all these witches were stuck and weren't allowed to leave this one area. And she was like, and May even says that, like, no one's getting out. I thought she was talking about getting out of their fortress. Like there was a door to their fortress that opens up. And I thought that's what they were talking about. Maybe it is. You guys will have to tell me. I was a little confused what was going on. This is the scene where May goes up to talk to Osha and locks her in her room and lights a fire. Now, we learn right here that May didn't actually mean to start that big of a fire. She was just trying to burn her drawings, and it got out of hand. And so when May sees that and realizes she can't put the fire out, she goes to run to go find her mom. Now, let's jump back to the Jedi. The Jedi are getting the results for the blood tests that they gave to Osha and May. And this is when they get the information that they just need to leave the twins there with the witches. The Jedi Council apparently told them that they also cannot leave. Torben's still really upset about this. And that's when they get the blood results. And the blood results are off the charts, of course, but something else is a little bit odd. Apparently, May and Osha share this exact same symbiote. Even though they're twins, they should have different symbiotes, and they have the exact same one. And this means that they must have been created artificially. They are the same consciousness put into two bodies. And only a virgin could create that type of power. Well, since this is like proof of a virgin, Turbin's like, okay, that means all we have to do is go get those girls. And we have proof, then we can go home. Because remember, that's the only thing he cares about. So he literally just takes off to go do that. Even though his master's like, Torben, no, tells him no, he's a bad Padawan. He's going to get a spanking when he gets back. And Dara tells Sol to go after Torben. So Sol catches up with Torben and pretty much is like, yeah, let's go save the girls. And the two of them climb over the castle fortress walls. At the same time, Indara gets in the ship and is going to fly over and sends Kalnaka to stop the conflict. Sol and Torben go to confront Anasea and Coral. Anasea is like, I don't want any fighting. But Coral is like ready for violence. And you would think since Anasea has decided that she's going to allow Osha to go with the Jedi to become a Jedi, she would say as much. But no, she doesn't. She actually kind of seems to be saying the opposite, but being really cryptic about it. She's also saying things that are a little bit vaguely threatening. And that's one thing that makes this episode really annoying, is that it's really contrived. There's a lot of things that happen, but if people were just using common sense or even decided to just discuss something, be like, wait, what do you mean? If people just talked normally, none of this would have happened. So Sol just asks, hey, where did the twins come from? Obviously, Anasea doesn't tell him where they came from. Then complete chaos erupts. So at this moment, Torben is a little bit trigger happy and Coral is definitely trigger happy. Sol is a little more chill and so is Anasea. But still, it's like tensions are rising, even though it shouldn't be. Once again, Anasea is being really vague. Like she's saying things that would make you believe that she's decided to not let Osha go. Just then, May runs in, yelling for help because she needs help with Osha. And that's when just complete chaos erupts. So May runs in, yelling for help. Sol thinks it's Osha. And this might explain why in episode 6, he has no idea that it's May and not Osha on the ship with him. Coral takes this as her cue to attack the Jedi. I don't know why. How about ask your little experiment baby what she needs help with before attacking? Okay, so this is all Coral's fault because she literally, as soon as she sees Osha, she's like, oh, well, that means I'm going to fight them. And it's like, why would you do that? Torben, seeing that he's about to be attacked, goes for his lightsaber. And it's here that Anasea is like, no. And then things kind of go in slow motion and Anasea starts turning into this black mist. Is Thanos here? And when she does this, May starts to turn into a black mist as well. Well, Sol sees this, and he sees this as threatening. He's not really, this is weird to him. He thinks that, he's probably worried that Osha is because he thinks this is Osha, not May. I guess he wouldn't care if it wasn't her. And so Sol stabs Anasea, thinking he is saving her. And it's then when she's dying, she tells Sol, I was going to let her go with you. And I was like, shut up. You're so annoying. You could have said that this entire time. Her whole demeanor changes. Because before this, she was being really vague, kind of threatening, antagonistic. And then after he stabs her and she's dying, he's holding her and she's like, I was going to let her go with you to become a Jedi. And it's like, really? Like, what? What a little manipulator. That is gaslighting. So May sees this and she's like, no. And then Coral's like, May, run. And she freaks the heck out. And she starts attacking Soul. And I actually like this scene because Soul, I think, realized what he did, realized that he didn't need to kill Anastasia. And I think that's Anastasia's fault. Why was she acting like that? Like I said, everything is so freaking contrived in this episode. Anyways, it's kind of cool. I like the fact that Soul won't fight her. He's trying not to. And now the fighting in this episode, I think is probably better than any of the other fight. Like, everyone really likes the episode 5 where all the Jedi are fighting. The problem to me and why I don't really care about the fight scenes in that episode is because there's no emotional stakes. In this scene where we see Coral attacking Soul, Coral is in pain. Coral. Soul is in pain. It's stupid, it's contrived, it's forced a little bit, but there's actual emotional stakes. For it to be a really good fight, there needs to be some emotional stake going on. And there is. I know how Soul is feeling. I know how Coral is feeling. I understand them as characters. I know why they're upset. I know why Soul doesn't want to fight back. And Coral is getting really frustrated by this. I even kind of know why Torben is fighting. He's scared. He wants to go home. That's why he's here. It's a really bad motivator, but at least he has one. He has more growth and more character than May and Osha have. And I'll also say, the actress who plays the little girl in this scene, when she's crying and she's like, no, Mom, she does a good job too. Like, I also think the woman that played Anastasia, I think she's a really good actress. Once again, like, what I'm saying is, this is a really poorly written show, but I think that there are a few scenes in here, there are some things that are done in here that I think are done well. It's just not the writing. It has nothing to do with the writing. There's some acting in here that's good. I think the fight choreography in here looks good. And I think I care more about these characters in this episode more than any of the characters I've cared about in this entire show. Especially more than May and Osha. So there's a big explosion. Coral gets distracted. And that's when Soul is able to break her staff. But Coral doesn't miss a beat, and then all of a sudden she turns into a black mist as well. And when she does that, we see a group of witches that are just like sitting there being like, da, 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 da. All their eyes go black, and we see that they are now the power of one, power of many, or whatnot. And that's when we hear Coral's voice say, you shouldn't have brought him here. And Torben's like, no, I've fortified my mind. And she's like, not you. And I don't mind that. I think that's kind of fun. It was kind of a fun scene. The thing is, I'm not going to hate on this show. Everyone just gets mad if you even say one good thing about it. I don't think this is a good show, but you'd be hard pressed to go watch a show or a movie and not find like anything good in it, especially when there's this much money involved. And people harp on the acting in this show, and they're like, "Oh, the acting's so horrible." I think May and Osha, I do not think are written well, and I don't think they're acted well. But most everyone in this episode, all the actors and actresses, I think are good. I like Soul. I even actually kind of like Torben a little bit. He's written poorly, but he's actually a character to some degree. But anyways, Coral is talking about Kalnaka, and that's when we get the Wookiee fight. And it's kind of fun. I mean, I wish they would have done a little more with Kalnaka and actually saw him being a friend to Soul, and especially Torben. Why couldn't they have like a few scenes where they were kind of goofing off? Like when Torben's all upset about being there on the planet, maybe Kalnaka is just being silly with him, being his friend, like putting him on his shoulder, just playing around. And if that was the case, then in this scene, when Kalnaka just straight up attacks Torben, it's going to be a little more emotional because we know that they're friends. We know that this isn't Kalnaka. We haven't really seen Kalnaka do anything up to this point. He's just there. So yeah, this scene's not bad. It's kind of cool. I think it's acted well. I think this kid that plays Torben, I think he's a good actor. Especially the scene when he's like screaming, he's like up against the wall. And I like the fact that they're all about to die, and then Indara jumps in and she comes out of nowhere. Obviously this right here, when she first initially jumps on Kalnaka and grabs his head, trying to force heal his brain or whatever. It's definitely not Carrie-Anne Moss right there. It looks nothing like her. I heard some people saying, oh yeah, Indar, she's the strongest one here, of course, because she's a woman. And I was like, well, I mean, no. She's the oldest one there. So she's had the most training. So she's the leader. So it would make sense that she would be the strongest one there. I'll make this quick. I have a problem with Hollywood right now. I think they're really bad with their like strong female characters, amongst other things. But it's like, no, it makes sense that she'd be the strongest one there. And she's Trinity. So like, shut up. All right, moving on. So when Trinity does this, or Indara does this, she like heals his mind, and you see the witches whose eyes were all blackened, like just fall over. I thought they passed out or they died, and I wasn't sure. And I think they died. I heard someone say they died, and I was like, they died from that? That's weird. All right, well, I guess they're all dead then. Indara tells Soul to go get the girls, because I mean, this place is all on fire and just complete chaos. And so Soul runs in, and we see both Osha, they're both on this catwalk that's about to fall into an abyss. Both Osha and May, and they're yelling at each other. And if I was Soul, the first thing that would have came out of my mouth would be, move! May, walk that way. Osha, walk that way. Because both of them are like trying to like, they're holding out their arms for each other. They're like, Osha, May, or something. And it's like, it's about to fall. It's turn around and get off of it before it falls, you absolute dimwits. But no, he doesn't. That does not happen. Soul is trying to hold up both the catwalks, but he can't. And while he's doing that, he could at least be like, can you guys move, please? Can you guys get off these platforms, please? So I don't have to keep doing this. I'm trying to save your dumb freaking butts. All right. Anyways, he has to make a decision. And apparently this is supposed to be like a big decision. And I don't know why. I was listening to somebody, and they were the ones saying that we discovered that he makes the decision to save Osha instead of May. And I was like, but we always knew that. We've known that since episode 3 that he chose Osha over May. I thought we always knew that. And even if we didn't, it's not really that big of a reveal, because he wanted to choose the one who wanted to become a Jedi. He's been talking about Osha this entire time, so it's not really that big of a reveal. Anyways, Osha passes out or whatever. So Soul takes Osha back to the ship. She's passed out. Soul and Indara get in kind of a fight, because Indara's like, I told you guys to like not interfere, which I'd be kind of pissed too. I'd be like, really? You guys just went and that whole coven is just like gone now. Soul is ready to tell the council what he did and that it was his fault. But for some reason, Indara's like, no, don't do that. You're going to take away Osha's chance at getting trained after you just took away her whole family, and now you're going to take away her chance at getting trained by the Jedi. It doesn't really make a lot of sense why Indara would say this. It doesn't really make sense for her character. She seemed like someone that was just sitting there. She didn't want to even make a move without talking to the Jedi Council. But whatever. And that's pretty much the end. And so, I mean, I guess we got some reveals. I just don't really feel like it was... I thought that the Jedi were going to come up way worse. It seems like Soul was doing the right thing the entire time. He thought something bad was going to happen. He thought Osha was going to be killed, and that's why he stabbed Anastasia. And once again, I just want to say, this whole entire show is extremely contrived. I said it like 3 times. The best part about this episode is the focus on Soul. Is there bad dialogue? Yes. Is Torben's main goal stem from him being homesick? Yes. Is that really stupid? Yes. Is the conflict contrived? And could it be easily fixed? Yes. However, this episode is the only episode that felt like there was actual emotional stakes. And I think the fact that we did focus on Soul made me enjoy this episode more than most, just because I kind of like Soul. It was the first time I was actually watching a character I kind of cared about. It was the only one where I kind of understood what the characters were doing. Like, I understand why the characters were making certain decisions. It's not good writing, but if it was good writing, I think that there was potential for this episode. I think if there was better writing, there could be potential for this whole show to a degree. More respect for the concept of what Star Wars is and how the dark side and the light side works. and also way better writing. And I think this show could be a little bit better. Like most of the episodes in this show, it's not great, but I think it's better than the other episodes. And the reason is just Soul, the character of Soul. The next episode, episode 8, then that's the end of the show. How are they going to wrap everything up? I just can't see how they're going to naturally bring everything together in the end, where it's going to feel that it makes sense. That's really all I have for today, you guys. Let me know what you thought about The Acolyte episode 7. This is the Happy Critic. Keep watching movies and keep being happy. And I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.